time is 6:43, and in this morning's For Your Health, good news for cheese lovers. A new study indicates that a little bit of cheese might actually be good for you.
Hey everybody, this is Klaus from Plant-Based Cheese. Thank you for tuning in. So this video is going to be about the recent mainstream media headlines about cheese. They reported on a study and they're now claiming that cheese is meant to be healthy. So the headlines varied markedly, but some of the cruder headlines included claims as far-reaching as a piece of cheese a day keeps the doctor away, eating cheese every day could slash risk of stroke and heart attack, and even eating cheese fights heart disease. So this was exactly what every cheese lover wanted to hear. And so the mainstream media, as a result, just kept pumping out these stories, except there was one problem because none of it was true. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is that this media spectacle was carefully orchestrated by key players in the dairy industry. Now, that's quite a bold claim to make, and hopefully by the end of the video, you'll see exactly how industry, manipulated these headlines. But it's interesting to note that a year before, in the run-up to Christmas 2016, exactly the same thing happened with headlines that were almost indistinguishable. But let's look at the recent media spectacle and look at the study that a lot of the media articles are referring to. So the study in question was carried out by a group of researchers which included a large contingent under direct employment of Chinese dairy corporation. It's called Yili, and it's the 8th largest dairy company in the world. So the people doing the study were employed by the 8th largest, one of the largest dairy companies in the world. If this wasn't damning enough, what's even more kind of significant from my point of view is that this didn't make the conflicts of interest section at the end of the study, which is bizarre to me. In addition, the study was carried out mainly at Wageningen University in the Netherlands. Remember this university because we're going to mention it again. Apologies if you're Dutch and I haven't pronounced it right. Wageningen University has been working hand in glove with the dairy industry for decades, entering a formal agreement to work with Yili after the opening of its R&D centre at the university campus in 2014. The university also cultivated a similar relationship with the Netherlands-based Friesland Campina, the 5th largest dairy company in the world, which opened its R&D centre at Wageningen in 2013. In case there was ever any doubt about what this collaboration entails, this is a photo taken at the opening ceremony for the Yili R&D centre at Wageningen, where the head of Wageningen University and the chairman of the Yili Group, remember the Yili Group is a massive dairy corporation, can be seen toasting their corporation towards quote unquote common goals with champagne flutes filled with milk. I'm speechless. When I first found out about this, when I was preparing this video, I was like, this is insane. But let me know down below what you think. Aside from hosting and collaborating with these dairy industry researchers, Wageningen University also plays a really key role in an organization called TIFN. TIFN is a formalized alliance between industry and academia formed to generate competitive advantages for its industry members, with many of the world's largest dairy companies forming a key block in this alliance, including Danone, Nestle, and the aforementioned Friesland Campina. But why is this significant? Like, why does this matter? If the industry pays for the research, so what? That doesn't necessarily mean that the research is flawed. Well, the data shows that nutritional research published by an interested industry, i.e. in this case the dairy industry, is 4 to 8 times more favorable to that industry, i.e. to the dairy industry, than normal research. So this is pretty damaging to public opinion. But despite this fact, the union has received the blessings of both the Chinese and Dutch governments, with the East Netherlands Development Agency and the Netherlands Foreign Investment Agency being directly involved in negotiating the terms of the Yili-Wageningen collaboration. You see, the Netherlands, even though it's quite a small country in Europe, it's a massive exporter of dairy. And so the dairy industry in this country have a long history of siphoning off money from the government through universities like Wageningen University. So now the question is, how did these dairy-funded Yili researchers at Wageningen University, how did they manipulate the study? How did they do and conduct the study so that it produced results that were favorable to the dairy industry? Well, one of the ways they did this was by controlling the inputs. So the study was actually a meta-analysis. It was trying to look at the big picture of whether cheese and dairy was healthy. And this meta-analysis included 15 studies. The problem is though, the 15 studies that these researchers picked were actually funded by the dairy industry. So let's just look at one study in this meta-analysis. Let's look at the 5th study chosen by researchers in this meta-analysis. This study was conducted a while ago by researchers at Wageningen University. And if you haven't already picked up on this, this is the university that is at the epicenter of this really corrupt collaboration between industry, the dairy industry, and academia, i.e. Wageningen University. So one other study in this meta-analysis was supported with an unrestricted grant from the Dutch Dairy Association. 2 further studies were bankrolled by the Dutch Dairy Foundation, and there were other studies in the meta-analysis that were also performed by researchers out of Wageningen University, the shady university that we've mentioned a number of times in this piece. This is why I've set up this channel, because I want to put a spotlight on what the mainstream media don't talk about. Like, why haven't the mainstream media, when they come out with these headlines, why haven't they said, oh, by the way, these studies were heavily manipulated because they were bankrolled by the dairy industry? Why don't you do that? Why? I think we all know why, don't we? It's because people don't want to read that stuff. The news story loses news value if you're basically not telling people what they want to hear.